Yes.
So
Oh, I'm still waiting. So, well, landing. I'm in Apex right now.
okay.
Wait, so I'm just landing. Yeah. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. What's the agenda today? There's so many things on the table right now.
We'll go this, close this, close this. This one, constant. This one. So this deadline is for when? Again?
Which one are you talking about?
Constant. We are talking. We are
Constant.
meeting right now about constant.
Okay. It's 15th. But I thought we talk about Modena today. I don't know. Because I
No,
think what we said is
I
like
mean, we have to do this. We have to do the process like so. What Modena is for 24, right?
24th, yes. But anyways, we don't have
Yeah.
much time like
So
available.
yeah. Well, I mean, we can do yeah. Maybe we can do something. Yeah. Look, we can talk about Modena.
Yeah.
Something similar to what we did last
Because
time.
I don't know, like last time maybe
Okay.
I thought I
This is
suggested
gonna-
like I would some writing for constant, which I haven't. I just opened something in a doc right now, but Modena we have to talk together definitely because we don't have the ideas yet. I think.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. So what is the framework of Modena? What if you said anything or so it's in Budapest,
Right.
and that's 2 months in Budapest
Yes.
from February to when does?
No, March to May.
Yeah, just put it here. Um, for 24 from March. March to May. Yes. Emphasis on exploring artificial intelligence and audience interaction on site and online. Yeah, so I'm seeing one of the notes it says about the audience. So because I think the proposal should have, yeah, we should think in the classical setup of a theater,
Right.
right?
I had this random idea yesterday. Um, Yesterday I went to see a rehearsal, which I expected something like a general rehearsal, but it was actually like they are still like rehearsing, like the different scenes for 2 hour performance. So we just saw the dancers like moving for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes and the director giving comments. So that was just like
Mhm.
a, you know, like a teaser for the show. And which was actually interesting, like to see the process that is not that I'm not involved at all. I know some people, but which was nice. And then someone was saying like, if you have questions or comments, please, say to the team. And then I don't know, like they made like a joke that you could also direct the show. We can make the show, um, which was just a random comment. But then I started thinking like, what if like like there's like a sim like video games that you build your cities or like
Mhm.
build your own. I don't know. Like, it can be anything. I used to play this freeware that for like Windows XP or something that you're like a manager of high school baseball team and you have to be competitive in the national tournament. Anyways, then I started thinking like, what if there's like a video game or like a sim that you have to make your own dance company and you have to make your own show. That was a really random idea that I would just, put it in a note and not to like work on like right away. But then when I started thinking
Serious.
about this
Okay.
Modena open call, because this AI thing is like, maybe you're a bit more familiar with this topic because you're at Motion Bank, but I always try to avoid this because I know it's like a lot of work and um, either you go for something available like and do something kind of cheesy
Normal.
or
Something deploy.
yeah,
Mm.
or you have to
I mean,
do
tech
a lot of
wise,
research.
I mean, tech wise, the reality is that at the end, you are the one who's gonna deploy most likely these things. So we have to find something that you like. Wait,
Yeah, or
so
something that we don't have to develop.
but yeah, jokes, yeah, exactly. So jokes aside, um, there are frameworks. I mean, it depends what we want, and in that sense,
Exactly.
like Nassim is an expert in the field,
Right. I
so
mean, we
he
can also
can.
hire someone, you know.
Because there is the bug. No, yeah, depends if that's what we need.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's an option.
but I mean, the artificial intelligence, like, I don't know if could be. I think there's a wrong direction to start going. Um,
No,
Maybe
just
first we'll have to see to aid.
yeah, exactly. But then like the reason why I was saying this was that I thought like if I don't know, like if we or I decided to make this simulation of a dance company, then maybe AI can come in to, generate some of the parts of the show because, you know, then
But
it,
I mean, I like that. I mean, just as, I don't know, just a joke also. I kind of like the idea. I have never seen a video game, like a proper video game of a dance company. That would be
exactly.
fun. Like, what are the agents that you need? What is the things? Yeah, what are the agents
Yeah.
that you need?
You have fixed budget, so you
Yeah.
cannot,
What do you want?
hire good dancers,
Yeah.
of course.
You have you are you part of a big institution where they have this sort of theater? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I never really thought about it. Like, I would like to play a game. Maybe it will be boring. Also. Like,
It could be.
but maybe no. Also, but if you, for instance, if you just stay with the technical part of dance, say like
Yeah.
ballet, so
Yeah.
it's a ballet dance company. I think that would be
Mm,
more uh, could be more precise in terms of what it's,
right.
because I can start making the analogy with these video games of like skateboarding, right?
Oh.
Then you're collecting ballet dance skills for the dancers, and then
Yeah.
you have to go to classes, and then you earn points, you get badges, and all these things.
Yeah. You
Instead of
have to
like just
eat
doing one
well.
pirouette, but after you have to eat well, you have to sleep well, but also you have to keep up also maybe your intellectual, because in the long term you want to become a choreographer or something. I don't know. Uh, I think it's interesting. I never saw a video game. Maybe we have to do a video game.
Yeah.
Um, um, I mean, I know like there are like people. There's some plugins already for Blender
Hmm.
to for 3D modeling, yeah, like to through AI to generate scripts for simple models.
Like for example, like
So
to
then,
like 3D
like
models.
just but yeah, exactly. So then you use artificial intelligence just to code to the
Oh, okay.
yeah to create the content basically. You're in this conversation with the AI in what you want. You create the models, and I guess once you have some shabloon from there, you start doing your own stuff. Then you don't have to. I mean, always kind of yes, some kind of how other people are using. That's I mean that's what we have to think. Then maybe we have to go back to what is that. Um, so their focus is on
Means for the open call.
yeah.
So AI, audience interaction, and then there's one more thing, right? I think it was not the online like hybrid thing. That's also like a plus, like a bonus.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I mean, that comes naturally. I think it's not like something we have to design. Well, we have to design, but to me, like that's like a big challenge. Like, where does AI come in?
Yeah. I mean, when we start talking about the AI, I thought was more like from uh more through the cognition, so more through the conceptual framework of the artificial intelligence. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, more from the point of view of cognition, because then that allow us to stay in a blurry space, for instance. I mean, between this figurative space and pre-figurative space that we spoke sometimes. Um, which is, I mean, in dance, it is what you're doing as a dancer. No, in dancing, you are constantly you you are in this sense making state until you find an image somehow in your head or a symbol, and you represent, you embody that. That will be, I don't know, a pirouette of yeah, whatever is that you're doing with your body. But so that's what I was making the analogy with
Mm.
the process of dance creation, or like the process that the dancer is doing. So at the cognitive level with artificial intelligence.
Mhm. And then, I mean, this one, like, we could, I mean, of course,
I mean
we reuse
that
best practice somehow. Yeah.
no, it's yeah, we have to. I mean, but we should uh, also in terms of ecology reuse that, and I think that should be part of also the application. This is
Yeah.
it really. I mean, in terms of working with technology and not using more resources and the footprint.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I mean, I think this thing that I'm mentioning about the cognition part, like also the theory level of the artificial intelligence, at, in relation to dance, it is there intrinsical. So it's something that I guess it will come more when we start being more concrete. Um, so for now, um,
Mm.
how we make a connection, how we would like to work for 2 months. I said the last time that we meet that we haven't, so the we have never really exploring the, in a way, the choreographic aspect of the, or the dancing really of the practice that we have.
Yeah.
So for me as choreographer would be interested, also as dancer, like to start playing a little bit more with these classical elements from contemporary dance. I mean, for dance or dance creation. Um, um, Wait, so I think that's somehow makes sense. So we don't have to actually propose something that we know. I mean, meaning something that is finished, like we know we're gonna build this performance, but we have to propose a framework that allows, and it's clear, to develop something that it will take some hybrid classical uh, theater space
Mm.
in 2 months.
Yes.
Perhaps then we can use like maybe design methodologies to also, because we have to work with tech. So then, and also then with feedbacks from user, because in this time we will be with public in the space,
Right.
right? So the medium is the theater. The medium this case is the theater. Yeah, the main, yeah, the medium. And then if we decide that, I think we will do it anyway. It will be live stream, I think, probably. Uh, So then will be the medium will be, and that's an interesting point, like more in a meta level, that do we privilege the on-site more than the online, for instance? And that could be maybe almost like as a question that if what we are proposing is something that is in the constant negotiation, um, yeah, how we manage somehow like to navigate through both spaces in a way that is, yeah, not the only there is a website from people if they want, if they cannot go to Budapest to see the show, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Mm.
So that's the show. We have it. I also got like you received from Nuno this. I'm part of this group, like the mocap group. This thing, how is called? Moco group.
Is it
Google
like a
group.
conference? No.
No. It's like, yeah, that's part of the conference. Like
Yeah.
there was this Moco conference, but there is a Google group of
Okay.
this that I'm part of that because I requested. And there, Nuno post again. So before he was searching for a postdoc in research for this project, but now also he posted that he's searching for a full-time PhD in, I
Yeah, I
guess
also
it's
got
for
that
this.
from newsletter.
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought
yeah,
that's also interesting, but that's a lot of commitment.
yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, like if I will be maybe in 2 years, or maybe, I mean, like, to be honest, like I'm really enjoying my time right now. Because I can, I mean, I'm right now in a APAS, and I can manage my time. I have, yeah, it was, yeah, I don't want to jump into a program like that. I'm being living in Tallinn. It
Yeah.
sounds great, but it's not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
perhaps
think.
maybe, yeah. But perhaps once we get into like if we're selected, then what could be interesting, and I know that but that's something perhaps we can start thinking, maybe this would be a starting point or not, is that sometimes you can propose like research, like a PhDs in coupled. You can present like projects,
Mm,
research project, and that's something that we could have the time to think about it, like how we can formulate something that perhaps give us the space, like yeah, like to be doing that kind of research,
yeah,
like
yeah, that's always
as a couple.
yeah.
And that will be interesting because then I was thinking already. I mean, one of the things that I don't like from this idea, like to start doing the PhDs, because then it means that I will have to select. So I will have to narrow down my possibilities, right?
Mm,
I mean, in terms of institutions.
sure.
So one of the things that I like now I'm enjoying is that I have this fluid figure also with Motion Bank, and but also uh, as freelance. So it allows me to not have to comply to the institution, and uh, yeah.
Yeah, I totally
But
get
so
that.
then going back to that point of the institute of the coupled, so that research PhD project for a group is that then we could select I don't know, perhaps two, I mean, three or four. I don't know how it works, but would be nice if we could select, I don't know, maybe at least three universities um, to do the research, because we are two. So I don't know exactly how that works. Is that because normally, I mean, what I know is often is one or two institutions involved.
Mm,
So I'm just thinking that perhaps if there's two people, and depending if we understand more or less or we propose what is your role, what is my role, then you might be affiliate formally to some university, I might affiliate to some other universities, but the project will be working together as an
okay,
ecology. And I
okay,
think somehow it makes sense. Uh, so yeah, anyway, this is not for now, but that's something that we can think that I think we can make it work
right.
through our network. One of the places that I really like, to be honest, like one of the institutions is your university in Cologne. I really like that framework. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know how this PhD works, but
I mean, I talked when I was there. I talked to your teacher a little bit of that. I told me basically the people who decide this is like are the woman of the department of writing or something like that, or department of like there are some women like there are like two or three women who are in charge of deciding who have this research PhD or postdocs in your school. And I think that's
okay, I don't
attached
know.
to something that is more connected with writing.
Okay, because it's like a
So think
scientific PhD.
I think it's more through design.
I mean, like formally, like it's not like artistic PhD, but it's a scientific PhD.
No, it's a scientific PhD. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, but that's great because then I can use the affiliation with Clea because I'm interested in develop this part more of the cognition side
Okay.
on Clea, but Clea is just really dense in that area. So then
Mm,
Cologne has more also this thing with more design and speculative things I get through your program specifically. That is so weird. You, uh, um, and perhaps I don't know, like I mean, then we can think in another institution more in terms of really capitalize something.
mm,
Perhaps I don't know, uh, Ars Electronica or Tallinn. I don't know. Just like in Linz, like Johannes Kepler would be nice because of the resources they have there, and it's attached
mm,
to. I mean, your practice it will have to be attached to Ars Electronica.
sure.
Yeah,
That's one option. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, in our case, because it will be practice based, it will have to be constantly in negotiation with art and electronic arts frameworks, and so art and sciences, I guess.
Mm. Okay, let's go back to the proposal.
Okay, no,
Uh,
let's change. Let's just do this proposal
yeah.
and let's write
So
together to no.
a PhD proposal. Um,
Yeah, but so this is a theater piece. I mean, this
right.
hybrid performance. We can go back to what we did. What did we say that it was a hybrid performance? What we did at the impulse dance, what was that?
What are you asking? Because that was the
Because
hybrid.
we
Yeah.
because we call it, I mean, we said that it was a hybrid performance. The website is called
Yes.
a hybrid performance.
I mean, it was just live streaming, right?
It was live streaming. Yeah. Yeah. It was a live stream, so but there was audience.
But then, like, I this is like to me, it's a question. Like, do you actually want more than live streaming? I mean, like, I mean, that's not the right way of framing the question. Like, I mean, live streaming is something that dictates a lot because then, I don't know if you remember, yeah, you came to see the show in Antwerp, which
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did with
yeah.
the yeah people there.
Yeah, and I was there actually. I was there with you and was
Yeah, yeah,
live
yeah.
stream. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like basically generated on site on Unity, I think, and then it was live streamed, and then
Mm-hmm.
people can have like interface overlaid on the
That was
live
and that was your
streaming.
role. That was what you did, like the interface
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, that's like user interaction.
Yeah.
And then I'm not criticizing that, but at the same time, like, I mean, what I want to say is like, I don't want to do that because then,
But you have the script. You have the
yeah,
script.
yeah.
Um uh Being completely honest, I think also it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, like at all. It wasn't bad. I mean, the uh like so the show was as a totality, I think it was good. And I think the interaction part they put, it worked within the concept. What did they try to do? It
Mm,
really also, I think it really leads. That's the thing, because what they were trying to do was so technical complex, and also not only the technical complexity but also the richness of the visuality they propose. It was the art work in terms of the
mm,
formal aspect of it. It was very well done.
mm,
So then what you want from the audience, if you're proposing something that in a way is good, is that the audience pay attention in
mm,
that framework, for instance, because it was a lot to see. um for instance, in that case, if we go to the 3D space, then the user didn't have access to the camera,
no.
but there was somebody in the space who was doing the camera role, you remember? And that was wonderful, because then you can appreciate the 3D, yeah, space, and then different angles of the bodies. And yeah.
So maybe there's another annoying camera. No, I wanted to say camera roll. Anyways, um, so you didn't see Alad's show, right? I mean, the
Which
the
one?
one that you have to install like 10 GB file.
No, but then when I was trying to ask too much to her, she got pissed off. I mean, she gave me a book. She gave me a
Ah,
book
yeah.
of her presentation that is like really well. I mean, it has all the reference from philosophy
Okay.
inside, and all the humanity references, but also it has like links that you cannot press because it's a book.
Mm.
So it has these encrypted links that, okay, she said like, yeah, if you go to this link, you download it, you install it, and you can play. And I was trying to ask more about it, and she was a bit angry.
So I tried, and I even watched the show from Colombia, and that was like, I think that's something similar to the one in Antwerp in a way that there's motion capture and there's like rich 3D. But the thing is like it was you need to run it on your computer. It's no live streaming. I mean, this kind of streaming, but
Mhm.
the way it works is
Yeah.
that it's rendered on your computer, so
Yeah.
you can move
So
around.
yeah. I mean, but does it? I mean, I think like so. Does I mean, I don't know what we're doing at this moment, but like maybe this is a chat.
Yeah.
Welcome, chat. Hello, everyone. So, but so I think we should start from. So that's a possibility to work in 3D space. Then there are framers that are, we can use, and then I don't know, try it. But the more elements, so in the 3D space, you have the camera position. So the more elements you add into the full choreography, uh, the less we will understand, at least for now, what is that we're trying to propose. So I think for the proposal, since at least for to start, we have to have some. It should be more narrowed down to
Yeah,
uh,
totally. I mean, we can
um,
speculate having inflatables and multiplayer stuff, but
and MQTTs. We just send like a message. You have to download the install the MQTT library, and then you make a GIF of Jana like MQTT.
but then I think what comes down to me is like with these examples, like I think what we're
Sorry. Can you
interested,
repeat? Can you repeat what you said?
yeah. So what comes down is like from these examples, because we're always interested in the sense making process. And if it's
Mhm.
like something given as live stream or video game, I mean, video game, maybe there's more exploration for people, but it's not like, they can make sense out of it. It's like more like something given on the plate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if we think about hybrid or like adding AI or whatever, like what's that part? Like, how can we make it more fluid or something?
So I think like don't worry too much about the AI part right now. Like let's think more, let's worry about the interaction.
Hmm.
That's more I mean troublesome, and through there I think we can find AI.
Yeah.
Um
Like if we have interaction, then we can train AI to do something with it. So it's fine.
yeah, and whatever is so I don't know. So what kind of interaction do we want? No,
So
why
is
do
it?
we want why do we want interaction?
That's a good point, actually.
So answer because the proposal asks for an interaction.
Maybe
So
we
we
can
can
flip it. Like, why didn't we have interaction so far? Or what was
that's
the
a good
interaction we?
that's a good point. Yeah. I think that's a good
But
point.
if
Yeah.
we broaden the scope a little bit, we did
No,
have.
no, but wait, because I'm thinking more, I'm trying to just say like I mean so if you think like you follow like history like dance, you have this classical approach, and more like at some point people start performing, and then they start thinking more from start mm, to create new purposes of these roles, audience, um, performers, and objects in space and so on. So maybe could be that could be something perhaps we can start borrowing and trying to analyzing or trying to understanding fast, like what is dance doing with that? What is performing arts doing with that? Because at some point it happens that these interactions start happening, and there are different ways of interacting within performing arts depending of the performance, depending of the configuration of the space. So I think one of the key points is start establishing somehow we need to think on the space, like in terms of what do we want. So it will be more scenography, I guess, somehow.
Hmm.
Um, what what is that space? How what is that space for? Yeah.
I mean, in that sense, like we already did a workshop. I mean, workshops, and that's interactive in a way, and
The
but in a
workshops.
more like classical sense with the space, or even the one in at the improv stance, like that is like something people are there. They could do something with nail polish or whatever that we have.
So why do we did what was the purpose of the workshop that we were doing? Was to share our practice, right?
Yes.
That was the core. So that the people could experience these things that we already have saying before
Yeah.
in the chat. So if you are watching, you have to go before and watch. Um, yeah. Do we want in this performance the people to experience or practice as we propose in the workshop, or what is that we want the people to experience?
To me, like very simple way of thinking is like workshop is like intense to be
Say it
there.
again.
Workshop is like intense to be there. But if there's something like interaction, maybe like it's a little bit like less participation, but still like we can share the practice. You know, it's not completely like one directional. Like we put videos on YouTube, that's more like one directional. But if it's like participatory performance, I mean, with the interaction, then it's not as intense as workshop to actually join there. It lowers the barrier for people to
The
experience.
performance. Ah, yeah, the
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
Then the workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, maybe you're going there somewhere. So wait, give me a second. So, um, so in a way, say, and just speculate, if what we want is, so based on what you're saying, then perhaps we can take as an example the workshop we did in Hamburg, and then maybe try to be more concrete in terms of the score that we are proposing.
Okay.
Because in that case, what we did was very much in that it was a practice, no? How to say this, like, I think somehow in terms of having really an audience, because I think that's in terms of architecture of the space, that will be clear that, so I say that is a space that is for everyone if they want to participate, but they are not
Mm.
forced to be part of that. And that's a big difference with the workshop. In the workshop, everybody was participating, or at least that was the idea. Like they should be part of the workshop. I think Kafai didn't participate. He was just she was just judging.
You mean like comparing
Maybe
to the one input stance?
no, Hamburg.
But Hamburg was everyone was participating, right? And then,
Yeah.
but you're comparing to something else, no?
Yeah, to the proposal.
Okay.
Yes.
So what were you saying?
Um,
Ah, yeah.
I'm
So comparing to
comparing
this proposal.
Hamburg
Yeah.
Hamburg with the new with the performance.
Yeah. Okay. All about.
Yeah.
But it's also challenging because people are seated as an
Or
audience.
no, or no, or not, because I think the theater you can reconfigure the seats, and
Okay.
also it's up to us. Like perhaps we can ask them to not have those chairs.
Sure. Yeah.
Can use budget for some things. Um, and I think that will be more easy to navigate from what
Mm.
we have is to deconstruct. So let's forget about there is a theater for now. It's a space where people will go to see a show.
Mm. So it works if you want to join with the interaction or you don't want
you
to
don't.
just want to watch something. I mean, that's what it is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
someone's like policing, like, are you doing interaction? Are you doing interaction or not?
Maybe maybe we can use just budget to hire Choc Cafe to do that work. It can be an avatar doing the policing.
Oh yeah, his show is on this weekend, I think. I have to get the tickets.
Is this weekend?
I think so. Anyways, okay.
So maybe I mean, because we don't really have to focus too much in what is that we're gonna do, because basically we have 2 months of residence to
Right.
develop what we're gonna do, but it's more like the conceptual framework of what are we proposing there.
Exactly. Like where to start.
Yeah, so I think the space is one point for like so to explore the archetypes, I will say the archetypes of the classical space, or the function of this of the space as such, of that space, because it's if necessary. I mean, if we find it necessary, perhaps we can even get involved with the space and the history of the space, like I think that, I don't know if that area, but Budapest in different areas was very Jewish, and they carry a lot of this history from trauma from the Second World. There's a lot of places there, like, and theaters actually. Anyway, so that's saying that could be, I mean, if it's necessary in the proposal, that could be one element. I will put it there just like as a, if we decide to mention, then we can do it.
Yeah, I like the idea. Like I always try to adapt to different space, but also it's not gonna, well, it can be backfire because they want something you can tour. So just to keep in mind, yeah. But I like the idea somehow, like that, because anyways the practice will be different. I mean, we have a framework somehow.
But wait, question mark. Is it are you sure? Is it somewhere in that they say they want this to tour?
Well, not tour, but like to show in different places. I think
It will be
after
showing in
this development they will.
Düsseldorf and Tallinn also.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And this is
anyways, like,
APAS, by the way.
hello.
This is APAS. Hello.
Well, it's very open space.
Yeah, it's just a big open space with a lot of things. It's very, I mean, it's very puffy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So like different people using the safe space, the space at the same time, or like what's happening now?
Yeah, but and they have to self-regulate in different ways.
Okay, I see.
They have to find ways how to not kill each other.
Fluid.
Yes. Yeah, there is a banana and apples. Apple. Okay, so I think the space, we need to mention the space. I think the idea of like reconfiguration, um, meaning that also since we need to travel also, I mean, the things that we propose that I think this is a perfect place actually to start, like going back to what you did with Flor, actually, because you guys were exploring the scenography.
Mm,
Within very much principles that I did not that was your research, but from my own interpretation there was a lot of principles that we developed together.
mm, right.
So um this idea of modularity, I think we can reuse or borrow from you guys
I see.
because we want to tour.
Yes. The tour, but
So
not like limiting, like, you know, it's not like building our black box, but yeah, being modular and how we
but
adapt.
I will say that it somehow is like from this sandbox, uh because in a way I think it's still from we want to in a way build a sandbox,
Mm,
uh but then from that sandbox define some elements that they are symbolic for us to carry. For instance, one of the you guys did so much with physical things, but at some point I also was thinking like, yeah, but what happened with all these things?
mm,
Um, so could be that we also take some time to explore elements in a similar matter, and you have experience with that in that glitchy context. Um, so then what we could do within the process is like the goal is that we should know that some of these elements we want to carry with us to travel.
mm,
Like for instance, I think a good question that I can ask you, like that could serve that is, which of the elements that you guys have, like you had some attachment, you personally, that you thought like, this one I want to keep.
mm. Actually, like the way doing the showing next week is basically like along that idea. So it's a good photo. I'm gonna just like put stuff
Mhm.
which are like random objects, but like
Mhm.
something that I keep for, you know, for traveling with for like a couple of years, or something just I just found on the spot.
Yeah.
But then the idea is that I have this website where it has like a collection of objects that are shown, um, to give like, you know, what the name, the year I got it, and some description, like a museum. So I mean,
Mm.
I like this museum idea always. So I wanted, you know, it's not just like a pile of things, but it's somehow organized in a way. I mean, that's more like archive
So-
idea. But the reason why I
okay,
want to
so
say
kind
is
of like
like,
expo archive thingy.
yeah, yeah,
I think what I find interesting, like that, perhaps we can take more a slight deviation, is that and this is actually is coming from the experience of working in those spaces in workshops with you, like above. Oh, I think we should like the elements will come natural within the practice, say nail polish,
yeah,
clothes, so on. But then I think conceptually, and I think should be strong somehow, we have to develop this idea that, and that's something that also they're developing here, this idea of deappropriation of your own property.
okay,
So you collectivize, you make it available. So in a way, you can make the analogy with PAF, with this idea of the owners being a tourist in its own property. So there are things that you know, for instance, that because people are people and what you're producing is something that is very abstract, and so you, you know that things might go wrong, like a metal ball running in the space might not be the best idea, right? So then the elements that you decide to put in the space are elements that you know that you can afford for whatever that goes. We can afford them to be collectivized for whatever the collective. I like this idea actually. Maybe we're going there somewhere. Then the performance and the audience is a collective. If they collectivize, not I don't know if what it happens, but they collectivize something, and there are theories and communication with set. There are theories in communication, and yeah, this space like PAF, a pass, and PAF is very much on that in that discourse of in making possible for others, basically. And
Yeah.
what are the borders? What are the boundaries of private and public?
I mean, this is like really naive idea, but for example, like audience, like everyone has to bring something to the show, and we collect them. We have it them on the stage. That's already interactive, right? In a way.
There is interaction on that, yeah.
Yeah.
There is interaction, yeah. Yeah, the reality of that, I mean, we might find troubles with that in the practical thing, but we are not speaking of it right now. As a concept works, like one, and I think from the beginning, if you go back to like Jonathan Borges speaks of this, for instance, of this idea of the contract. Like the first thing that the first thing that the audience see, the first interaction that the audience has with the performers is the contract. From there, they understand how the performance will be. So in our case, for instance, which I like very much, and this is attached to my idea, just globally before of designing art, and this idea of then my choreographies that then I will propose that is the pre-production is part of the production, which is normally the performance, but also the post-production. Meaning that when the person, so like the email, the invitation email, the publicity that we do, like all the graphic design, all the design, so all the production design is the choreography. It's part of the choreography, and the invitation is acknowledged as such. Is one first a scene, if you want. Is part of the dramaturgy. We can even, I mean, we can start even like doing, engaging people, for instance, since we know when will be the deadline, and we have already some crew, and we can start from our own network, start like sending invitations, but also in time there. I know some people there because I have been sometimes in that area. Then we can start perhaps trying to build around some kind of community between giving workshops, perhaps. I mean, everything, like just workshopping Hydra, like dance, I mean, different things. So I think this idea of community is very connected. So because this idea of community, which is not the same communication, I don't know what is communication, by the way, just to clarify, but it's not community, just to say that. It's more like an abstract thing that it uncovers so many things. And
It's not about between people somehow, I found. There is something like agency between the people. Nice.
So, but then I think so, and then if you go like to like more like design and then community-based things, so then we can use that thing. We have experience. You have more experience on this thing, like then proposing things and then finding through tech tools ways to engage certain audience that we want. So then we can start thinking also in literally using interaction design, user experience design will be part of that, because then websites will come naturally in that process. And then the way how we want to engage this idea of the user audience will be there for sure.
Yeah, when you were saying about this contract pre-production, I was thinking like, so like, is that something like code of conduct or is it something different? But then if it becomes like community, then definitely that comes in and makes sense. That, as you said, engaging certain audience. So where do I want to go with this? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, just go ahead. To try to
No, like,
finish what
but I could probably like imagine something that is like this pre-production phase is the crucial part. I mean, I'm not prioritizing but that is actually building something, and the show is something. Could be like we can think that the show is something for us, for the community, and if other random people come in, it's also fine, but it's not meant to be for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's something good. So and then the post-production, somehow I think will be good. Like then you have that time for the people to, so the post-production somehow I think could be this space, the contemporary space, the contemporary dance workshop space circle. I
That's
mean,
circle.
yeah, something along the lines where the people can debrief, because it will be a closing moment. So actually also is a closing moment. So we have the pre-production, which is the contract that I will say is the most important thing. And I like that because in terms of like being radical or like trying to underline something conceptual, it really challenges the means of production of linear production. Because it emphasizes that it's the pre-production, so the building community before going to the show. And that's I will say this is in creative, if you want. I use this word. So then focus is on in building through workshops and things that natural are part of the practice. You generate the thoughts, use design principles, user experience, interaction design, and so on to build the community. Then you come together to what I will call the practice. That is the show. Is the time to practice all the different things that people have learned in the workshops. And then the post-production is the circle after the contemporary dance workshop, where you debrief together, and it could be the moment for questions and options. Because people might have questions, like, okay, but also it's like a symbolic moment to do kind of like a ritual for closing. And could be, I like that idea, that could be almost like a Naoto's festival. Like that's for me a closing. That's for me the post-production. I will put in this idea. The Naoto's festival idea of, so proposing this festival, for instance, like would be a closing moment. That's the post-production for me in this idea.
Sorry, I don't quite get it. Like Why is it post-production?
Because it's a symbolic way to close the event. I mean, so in the pre-production, you're building somehow knowledge. So it's in a way, it's building knowledge. It has focus in somehow. It has focus sessions, like for people to learn how to live code, for instance, to move in the digital space, so on. And then you show, so you practice all these tools in that speculative space that is still classical, is in theater, hybrid space, and so on. And then you go to the post-production, and the post-production should be in I think in the big idea of this post-production, it should be a joyful moment that is not narrowed down. So it's not about building knowledge. It's the opposite. It's the space where the people just gather around. That's what I would mention it entangled with ritual. So what you propose, like the festival, so or just this idea of like creating some moment where the people come together and make a festivity out of what they have experienced for 2 months together.
I see.
And of course, within that festival, then there is moments to have this more one-to-one or these private sessions, and things can happen there. Like we can even think another small score within the festival. But I think I kind of like it. Somehow it makes sense. Like we can propose a festival and we can use budget to do some festival. That house, it has a space for that, because it's not only a theater, it's a big building with different places. So it's a perfect place to propose a festival. Whatever that means for us.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think it's starting to take shape. I mean, like I'm fully like how to say, so like personally I really like the idea, but then like I don't know what they think that is it something like is it something one off, or is it something that you have to develop sorry, I can't talk when there's someone talking in the background. No problem. Yeah, it's sick. So yeah, like basically more like a practical question. Like, so I think we could do this as a residency, and then if they want us to show in Düsseldorf, for example, how does it happen? And I think it's better to like kind of clarify like what we think about it, because I don't think we have to do like resources the same thing, but then what can we carry from there?
I think for now, because I think the one aspect that we haven't spoke yet is the technology side and the artificial intelligence and the emphasis on the tech side, because this, as we spoke the last time, is more like an academic thing, seems. I mean, through this PhD postdoc research.
Yeah.
So we have to also demonstrate that we are capable to do fancy stuff, I guess. So this is something that perhaps the next meeting we can start thinking based on this. Let it sink, and then we come back. I think this is a good starting point of a concept, a good shablon. Then we come back and think more like the way how we started the conversation was focused on technology. We naturally evolved to this, and so let's try to go back to the tech side.
Yeah. So my naive idea would be to use AI to learn from all these participants, and we don't need them anymore for the next show because the AI will take over.
Oh, it's so cool, like all this care, like, okay, we got what we need, like, sorry, we don't need you anymore.
We're going to tour with AI.
We AI public. We should use AI to create the idea. You know, you have this have you heard of this, what is called unique selling point on the sign? Yes.
No.
Use ISP, you check in Google, unique selling point. In this idea, I mean, that's your standpoint, why you are unique in design. That's when people ask you to in one sentence said, what is your proposal about it and what is you about it? And so for us will be like, actually it was the public, but now we can create public with AI because we got information. So the AI is a public now. That could be sort of like that proposal, like, okay, yeah, the public actually is the AI. And it blends into singularity.
Oh my gosh. Great.
Yes. All right. Well, I think like let's close here because it's very
Yeah.
noisy, and then I start.
Yeah, but I think
Um,
yeah, we have more things on the plate, and now we just have to like sync, and ferment, and come back.
Practically speaking, so let's find a time. Let's talk through the chat and to find dates.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's not a good moment right now. And then just also, yeah, just let's chat.
Yeah. Cool.
Come, mate.
See you.
Subscribe.
And thanks for watching. Yes.